The big events of the world are well documented, whether it is the Battle of Stalingrad, the Great Escape at Dunkirk, or the disaster at Gallipoli. Most of them rave about brave soldiers and astute strategists, but missing from most of these accounts of war are women. The world wars turned their lives upside down. Some were shipped off as nurses to battlefields. Others became commodities for enemy states. One group in South Korea encapsulates their pain and suffering: the comfort women. Young Korean girls who were smuggled to Japan for prostitution. 80 years on, only a handful of them are alive. But they're still fighting for justice. It's a fight that is at risk of being forgotten.
They were treated like cattle in World War II, stolen from their homes, forced into brothels in an alien land. More than 80 years later, they are fighting disease and disillusionment. The world recognizes their plight, but justice still eludes them. Historians say 200,000 Korean girls and women were smuggled during World War II, sometimes with the promise of jobs, sometimes to pay off a relative's debt. Once in Japan, they became comfort women. Translation of the Japanese word, ianthu, a euphemism for prostitutes. There are 240 registered survivors from Japan's wartime brothels. Only 14 are still alive. Among them is Lee Ok-sun. The Japanese came for her when she was 16. Since then, she has only known a life of pain and trauma. At 91, her only dream is a day of peace.
I just wish I could live at peace for one single day.
This is where Lee and other comfort women live today, the House of Sharing. Its manager fears people will soon forget about these elderly survivors, that with their death, the legal cases will also disappear.
Most of the grandmothers were born in the 1920s, and just over a dozen remain nationwide. I'm afraid such accounts will vanish in the mists of history when the remaining ones pass away.
In 2015, Japan apologized for the way comfort women were treated. They also established a $9 million fund to help the survivors. But 3 years later, Seoul shut down the fund. They said some survivors were overlooked. Since then, the matter has been in court. Back in January, there was some good news. The South Korean court ordered the seizure of Japanese government assets. This would pay for Japan's wartime damages. But last week, another court quashed this ruling. Like most colonial powers, Japan got a pass. Tokyo says all colonial claims and damages have been settled. New claims, they say, will damage bilateral relations. But these survivors are not easily deterred. They plan to fight till the end.
I'm determined to not die before I resolve this. I need to be alive as much as 200 years to resolve this.
The years of abuse and exploitation have not broken their spirit. They have the evidence. They also have truth in their corner. What they don't have is time. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.